titled Planet Caravan. Let's take a listen. All right, guys. Yes, the third song, Planet's Caravan. Wow. I mean, after listening to this song, I definitely have to say, I mean, first thing that hits you is the atmosphere. Instead of Tommy Iommi's usual earth shattering riffs, we get this laid back almost jazzy guitar line drifting along. Jesus Butler kept the bass subtle and smooth, I have to say, and then you've got these soft almost tribal sounding percussion touches. It's I love the fact that it's hypnotic, almost like you are in a trance. Yeah, and then Ozzy Osbourne's vocals, it was just wow, guys. I mean, they don't even sound like the Ozzy we usually hear. So based on a few facts that I pulled up, they ran his voice through a Leslie speaker, which gave it this swirling, ghostly effect. It's like his voice, is literally, orbiting around you. Based off, my own experience in listening to this song, you feel like you are floating, with him through the cosmos. Vocally, guys, they really, really went in. Now, let's talk about the lyrics. So, based off of a few, facts that I pulled up about the song, Jesus Butler, wrote them, as he described the song, as floating through the universe, with your loved one, and I feel like that's exactly the vibe. I mean, for certain lines in there, we sail through endless skies. Stars shine like eyes. The black night's sighs. It's pure cosmic poetry, if you ask me. I mean, instead of singing about war or paranoia, like on the rest of the album, this is Black Sabbath, stepping into pure, escapism. It's romantic, it's dreamy, and it's such a, curveball, compared, to songs like, War Pigs and, Paranoia, or, any of your other songs, if you ask me. For me, the highlight is that combination of Ozzy Osbourne's, ghostly vocal tone and, Tommy, Iommi's, delicate, guitar fills. And normally, Black Sabbath, crushes you with, power chords, but here, Tony, shows just how expressive he can be with restraint. So based on a few facts that I pulled up, we have Tom Allen, the engineer. I mean, he sneaked in some piano flourishes. That's right. I mean, piano on a Black Sabbath track, in 1970, totally unexpected. I have to say, wow, this track is such a bold move, on this album, Paranoid. You've got these, heavy hitters, all around it. But then Planet's Caravan, floats in and gives you as a listener, this moment of peace, like a deep breath between storms. Based on a few facts that I pulled up once again, critics, have even called it a precursor, to space rock and psychedelic metal. And to me, the legacy definitely lives on. I read, that a Pantera, famously covered this song, on Far Beyond a Driven. In the 90s, proving that, even the heaviest in the bands, saw the beauty, in Black Sabbath's, softer side. Yeah. So, here's my honest and fair take. Planet's Caravan, might not be what you expect, from Black Sabbath, but I feel like that's what makes it so special. Definitely shows their versatility, their willingness, to experiment, and it gives us this timeless, atmospheric, piece that still holds up today, in my opinion. If you are listening to the album, straight through, I feel like this song, feels like drifting weightlessly, before you get slammed back down to earth, with the other songs. It's more of like the calm, before the storm. But that's just me. What about you guys? Do you think the song Planet in the Caravan, is an underrated masterpiece? Or does it feel out of place on this album, Paranoid? And which version do you prefer? Black Sabbath's original or Pantera's cover? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Yes, I definitely would love to read them. Yeah.